I'm going to go over now how we find a factor of a conventional polynomial where it's algebraic. So a list of all possible factors x minus a is given by the following, where a is the factor of the constant term, so that's our constant term, divided by the factors of our leading coefficient. So for example, create a list of the factors of the polynomial f of x is equal to 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 8x plus 3. So I know that I'm going to have to create an exhaustive list and I'll work through the different combinations. A can be the factors of the constant term. So the constant term here is 3. So the factors of 3 now are 1 times 3. But be very careful because the factors of 3 can also be negative 3 times negative 1. Sorry, it doesn't look very good. There we are, that's much better. So I have 1, negative 3, and 3 in the top. And the factors of 2, I'm going to put them in the bottom. So in the factors of 2 here, please, I'm just going to cheat. I'm only going to consider the positive factors. Now, I did that because of the brevity of this video. So now I have to work through the different combinations. So I'm going to put my finger on when my denominator is 1. When my denominator is 1, a can be equal to negative 3 divided by 1, which is negative 3. When my denominator is 1, it'd be negative 1 times 1. So a can be equal to negative 1. When my denominator is 1, I'm going to pick this one as my numerator. 1 divided by 1, so a can be equal to 1. So work through my last factor, 3. When my numerator is 3 and my denominator is 1, a can be equal to 3. Now I'm going to move on to the second one. When my denominator is 2, so I'm just going to cross that out. That's off the list. So when my denominator is 2, I can have an a value that where my numerator is 3 divided by 2, so that it ends up being a can be equal to negative 3 over 2. A can be negative 1 over 2. A can be equal to 1 over 2. A can be equal to 3 over 2. So here is a list. Sorry, I should write it a little bit better. Here is a list of all the possible a values. Then what are the factors? Now let's keep in mind, this is a list of all possible factors in the form x minus a, where a is given by this. So those are my possible values of a, should match those ones. So I'm just going to write out the corresponding factors. This would be result to the factor of x plus 3. Sits in the form x minus a is negative 3. This would be x plus 1. This would be x minus 1. This would be x minus 3, right? A is 3, so it's x minus positive 3. It turns into x minus 3. This is a plus 3 over 2. A plus 1/2. A minus 1/2. A minus 3 over 2. Now, as likely as you've previously seen, having this factor is, sorry, these should be x's. My mistake. Having this factor can be the same as having this factor. Generally speaking, I don't tend to favor where my a's are rational numbers, rational numbers in fractional form because they're too hard to calculate and it takes up too much time. So the question is, do I want to beat you to death with computation, or rather, do I want you to have an easier time to calculate and work through the division aspect of this?